So good evening, ladies, and welcome for today's session. Today, I am super excited to be speaking to my favorite, Amrita Thakur. As we all know, she's a fashion designer, a style curator, a social influencer, and what all. Along with her Instagram videos, she runs a label called Amrita Thakur Official. She often incorporates various styles from her own collection in her videos. Her designs have been featured in top fashion magazines like Elle India. And believe me, women swear for her recommendation from clothes to cutlery. We women have undoubtedly mastered the art of multitasking, but none better than Amrita. So let's take a deep dive into her work style and how she balances her Insta aesthetics with her family downtown. So before we start today's session, I would now request our chairperson, Karika Vets, to say a few words.
Thank you, Pooja. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our event at Flow Kanpur. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our guest, Amrita Thakur, for joining us today. Before we begin today's event, I would like to announce that we have successfully launched our menstrual awareness drive, Project Punk, Swachhata Sabka Hak. Every year, May 28th is observed as World Menstrual Hygiene Day. Flow Kanpur will continue its commitment of creating awareness among individuals regarding the challenges and hardships girls and women face during menstruation. In this drive, we aim to reach out to women from at least 75 interior villages around Kanpur. We will be creating awareness on the importance of maintaining hygiene in their daily lives, along with the usage of sanitary products. We would make sanitary napkins available to them at a cost much lower than available in their market to empower them with the right understanding and owning their own sanitation and hygiene. This has been possible with the help of Ekal Vidyalaya Acharyas from each of these 75 villages. This project is headed by our past chair, Dr. Anuradha Vashne, and our vice chair, Sneha Gupta, who are equally passionate about campaigning on the importance of menstrual hygiene among women. Project Punk looks forward to empowering the women of our country. Moving forwards with our today's event, Marc Jacobs rightly said, clothes mean nothing until someone lives in them. And the way Amrita lives in them, wears them, carries them, it makes each piece look like a wearable art. Wearing the right outfit contributes to a person's self-esteem and confidence on a daily life. The power to change our mood is in our hand and the way we dress up. Let's lift up our moods and hear from the designer, the style influencer herself, as she takes us through her journey. Welcome, Amrita.
Thank you so much, Karika. Thank you all of you for having me.
How have you been?
We've been good, can't complain with everything that's going around. I hope you all have all been safe and well too.
Yeah, we have been seeing you constantly, posting about good things, helping people out during the COVID times too, Amrita. It was great pleasure to see
that. Well, it's really the least we can do considering we're safe and we have the luxury to be sitting across, our phones. It has to be made of some use.
So let's begin. Firstly, I would like to ask you, Amrita, what is that attracted you to the fashion industry? And when did you realize that you wanted to become a fashion designer?
I think I always, actually growing up, I was a complete tomboy. And then I went to boarding school and, my cousin sister, who's a huge influence in my life, and she's very, very special to me. She started noticing that things together. And so she, when the time came to have that conversation about what next, she's the one that kind of, sort of planted this in my head, and I thought, okay, why not? And I just took it from there, never looked back.
So any kind of particular obstacle that you faced during this?
I'm sorry, 1 minute. I'm gonna have to connect my, sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, what did you say?
So I was like, any kind of particular obstacle that you faced when you were deciding to be a fashion designer?
Not at all. My parents made it very easy. I joined fashion college in Delhi first, and my parents actually moved houses, and they set up a place for me. I had a driver, everything at my disposal. So they've been supportive from the start. So I've never faced any hurdle, so to say.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. That's what we all need, the support from the family in
Yes.
everything we do.
True.
The fashion industry has evolved greatly over years. It's an extremely competitive world. And with the rising changes that we are seeing and with the kind of audience we have, we are all spoiled for choice these days.
Yeah, true.
What are the major changes that you're seeing?
I think it's become, we can all agree to it, it's become very instant. So, collections are more instant as opposed to 2 collections a year. Everybody wants to see a new collection every 2 weeks, and that's not possible. And I think we've been spoiled by, social media and apps, which are giving everything instantly to us. And if we see something, we're not even, if it's on pre-order, we're not even ready to wait another 15 days. We want it instantly, or we move on to the next thing that we want to sort of, give into our craving of shopping or feeling good about having something spent or spending some money on something. So I think the fact that it's instant and it's becoming more instant, I think I don't particularly think that's a good thing.
So what keeps your, like, a constant source of inspiration to come out with things?
I think increasingly we have to find meaning in what we're putting out. So the one side is commercialization, where we have to understand the needs of our customer who wants things every 2 weeks. But I think we as people who are creating need to be conscious of how much we're putting out, what we're putting out, what is the reason why we're coming up with something every 2 weeks. So, and I feel if we do that, then the customer will also sort of start to understand that. If we have that dialogue, if we have that conversation about let's move towards more meaningful things as opposed to just over consuming and over consumption. Let's move towards reusing and reinventing as opposed to just kind of mindlessly buying and purchasing.
Yeah, absolutely. My next question was on that line only. I just wanted to ask, fashion is one of the second largest polluting industry across the globe.
Yes.
And more industries are pledging towards making fashion more eco-sustainable.
Yeah.
What is your sustainable strategy?
I have always believed that whether you take something from a designer or you take something from Zara, you have to ask yourself, if I'm going to wear it at least 30 times in this year. If it's say a t-shirt, if you're going to wear it at least 30 times in those 365 days, if it's a beautiful suit, say from Ritu Kumar, how many times are you going to wear it? Are you going to be able to justify cost per wear? And is it something that you see yourself wearing 5 years down the line? Let's not pick something for that next party. Let's pick something for the next party and the next and the next and the next. So I think, we have to stop ourselves from just buying, we don't think about it, but it's, a top for $600.
Yeah.
But the amount of wastage that creates, and that top is going to be good for that one Friday night at a club. But what then? So I really, really believe that we need to sort of ask ourselves and justify, and in our head, whether we can justify the cost per wear of something, and also how many wears is it going to give us. I have pieces in my wardrobe that are about 20 years old, and some of them are from Zara, some of them are from a designer. So I take great pride in, and at that time I didn't have the knowledge. I wasn't so evolved in my thinking 20 years back as I am now. Yes. But I take great pride in pieces that I have held on to and sort of still see myself wearing it, making use for it. And I just want to stick to that philosophy.
Half the time we are keeping the pace because we are thinking that next year I'm going to fit into this, honestly.
Yes, I agree.
And I saw your Insta post also that you had made about that brocade ghagra that you wore it in 3 different styles.
Yeah.
So in fact, Amrita, after seeing that, I realized I even had a ghagra, how I could reuse it again and again.
Yeah, that's what all of us, I mean, and especially now with trends moving towards, like, who knew I think even about 15 years back, we didn't think of pairing our ghagra skirts with a shirt.
Not at all.
But, in the middle, it became such a rage. And now everyone keeps, sort of pulling out a nice black shirt or nice white shirt, and they keep wearing it with that. I think it's great.
And that's what I decided to do it next now.
Yeah.
So what advice would you like to give to some young designers? We have got a lot of young designers here with us who they are trying to make their journey in fashion industry. So would you like to give them some kind of an advice?
I think, as creative people, we often, when we start out, and especially when we're studying and when we start out and we want to start a label, we often forget that we're creative people and we're not so well equipped with the business side of things. And I think that's a huge drawback. And I think that's also something that really needs to be a longer syllabus and a longer module when we are studying fashion and when we're studying in design school. Because it is something that a lot of us struggle with as creative people. We don't know the business aspect of it. We don't know. And it usually, you get into starting a label, etc. And then somewhere down the line, you realize, you're getting completely, pardon my language, but you're getting completely screwed over with the business, with the lack of business knowledge about it, whether knowing that something is profitable or not, whether we should go into making it again, whether and when it is profitable, how to maximize and how to get how to sort of almost squeeze everything out of it.
Yes.
So I think this is something that we need to be equipped with. And the other thing I would say for everyone that's starting out, I'm a huge believer of make your mistakes with someone else's money. So by that, I mean, train under somebody, train under people you look up to. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is you have to learn under somebody that already has been there doing their job and is at the top or is doing very well, because somewhere they've got it right and they'll be able to and you'll be able to grasp and pick up a lot from them. So I'm a huge, today what I see is a lot of young kids, they want to start out and they straight get out of college and straight away start a label. An actress would wear it and that's it, they're the next, they feel like they've achieved it all. But I just want to tell you, you're only as good as your last actress that wore you or actor that wore you. And then it's the next one, because they change clothes 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So do not think of that as, okay, I've arrived. No, you don't arrive. You never, if you think you arrived, you're not, that is the end of your sort of creative energy, creative process. Yeah. You have to sort of keep pushing the boundaries and evolve. And that's why I think you need to train under somebody for at least 2 to 3 years. Train under whoever, get a job under somebody you look up to, whose work you admire, whose career graph you're really into. So and never start out on your own. Don't make mistakes on your own money. Learn and then start out on your own if that's what you plan to do.
Yeah, truly experience, actually counts.
Yes.
That's why we are always constantly telling children to do their internships better.
Yes, hugely. And that's why I feel sad when I see a lack of focus in young people that come for internships, because they're not willing to go all in. They're not, because I think, again, we're in a world of, okay, if not here, then there.
Yeah.
So I feel that passion needs to come from within to say, no, I'm going to make it here and I'm going to stick it out. And I just want to tell you, your jobs are never going to be amazing. You're never going to like your boss. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be rubbish. You're going to complain. You have to stick it out and see what you gathered at the end of it.
Yeah.
And that is what will pay off when you start off on your own.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you have dressed a couple of celebrities from Bollywood, Amrita.
Yeah.
Any memory that stands out for you?
I think it would be my first one, which was Aishwarya Rai. And it was, I had just done my show at Lakme, and I had done this one sari, which was it was a hand embroidered lined sari, and I took inspiration from the sari that Mumtaz, the actress, wore in that song Aajkal Tere Mere Pyar. It was like a striped sari and was draped like that, very tight. So that was the inspiration behind it. And I got a call from Anaita Arjania, who called and who said, I really like the sari and I'm doing something for Longines with Aishwarya, so I would really like to get it. I was new to somebody calling me and asking for a sari. I had no idea how that worked. I had no idea this was called sourcing, and there's a system around it. And if it's being, called for an ad, then they purchase it. I had no idea of any of this. So I said, I was happy Anaita was calling me. I said, yes, of course. And she said, I need it for Aishwarya. And I said, yes, I had no idea. And then cut to, a few weeks later, there was this gorgeous ad of, of Longines, and it was their Diwali. It was, pre-Diwali. And she's in this orange sari, and there's just a face and the sari on her shoulder.
Wow.
And that image still runs, Longines still runs that ad.
Yes.
And it is a classic. It became known as the Aishwarya sari. It just went viral.
Yeah.
And we had to produce it in every color possible. And so I think, Anaita and I still talk about how they're still using that image, and it was shot by Farooq Chotia, who has known me as a child. So it was very special for me. And it will forever be etched in my memory. Even now, come off at the airport, you see a big banner, there's a Longines ad and Aishwarya looking stunning in it.
We can all relate to that picture.
Yes, yeah.
And in fact, Amrita, I see a lot of your outfits, they have very intricate and beautiful embroideries on them. Looks like you're fond of embroidery.
I am fond of embroidery. I think India is a land of embroidery, and we have so much to offer. There is, till date, you can't put a number to the number of variations and techniques we have in embroidery. I think we have a very strong hand in that. And I've always believed that the West have their cuts,
yes,
and silhouettes, and we have embroidery, and we are strong on our handwork and on our craftsmanship. And there's nobody that beats us. So I take huge pride in that. But I am not I'm not a maximalist. So I don't fill my things up with embroidery. I like to keep a balance. I like to keep it subtle. I like to keep it lighter in weight so that it's more wearable and doesn't become something that people sort of just dump at the back of their cupboards. Yeah. So these are huge factors, again, which go back to making pieces that are more useful for people, that people are able to pull out more and wear more often.
Yeah, true. It's really good to hear about your fashion thing.
Thank you.
For the next set of questions, Amrita, I would like to call upon my senior vice chair, Pooja Gupta.
Oh, sure.
Hi, Amrita.
Hi, Pooja. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So how's your little one at home?
He's good. He's past 10 days, he's turned into a bit of a hooligan, and we're just like...
So Kanika had been asking you all about your fashion business. Now I wanted to ask a different side of your career, which you chose. So I would first of all like to know what triggered you to choose influencing.
Actually, I had no agenda in mind when I started these videos. The one reason for doing these videos was just to, at the time I started, I felt like the influencer market, and that was my opinion. That was not the reason I started this. But I felt like the influencers space was very crowded, A, and B, they were all doing and following this format of overstyling. Okay. Which I didn't see people dressing like that in real life. And I felt like I just wanted to simplify dressing and, still have your own sense of personality come through. So I think that is what I wanted to, I just wanted to kind of share what I was wearing today and where I got it from. And it could be something I had picked up 10 years back, or it could be something brand new. So I just wanted, it started as that, but I had no idea, and I had, I wasn't prepared for how it would explode.
So now what is your favorite part of being an influencer?
I think my favorite part of being an influencer is to be able to bring brands to people and connect them to brands that they find a synergy with, and they find that this is a brand that I would like to get from, or this is a brand that I would like to include in my wish list, or this is a brand that I've been looking for all this while and they do these amazing things. So I think that connect, that forming that, being a catalyst between two people to, the consumer and the brand is what is exciting for me.
So my next question was around that. When it comes to fashion industry, today the most important place you can be is online.
Yeah.
So what role do you think the social media plays, and how has social media influencing changed the fashion industry?
I think it's in terms of how have influencers changed it, is they've, earlier your point of sort of seeing a piece on somebody was either the models, which, the designers photograph their lookbooks on the models and then they put it out. So either that was the reference point, or increasingly it was the Bollywood celebrities. And then slowly a shift started happening where people started wanting to see real people in it. So influencers form that sort of bridge between, oh, but this is Deepika Padukone and she'll look fabulous when she wakes up.
Yeah.
So I want to see it on somebody that has my body, that has my hair, that has my skin tone. And I think influencers sort of became that for people. So in a way, it really sort of helped people identify
To a girl
themselves.
next door. To
Yes.
a girl next door.
Yeah, to a girl next door. And I in fact wanted to bring it down even more, where I wanted to say that I you don't need to overstyle and you don't need to look fashionable or feel fashionable. I think we all have a sense of our own personal style. We just have to sort of bring it out. So yeah, I think that's what it is. But yes, about being online, it's hugely important right now. And it's really, I think currently when we were like, oh my God, they're going to shut Instagram down. Everyone's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Everybody was asking yesterday, is Instagram going to be there or it's going to be banned?
Yeah, but it's almost become like your business card, So now we don't even exchange numbers. We say, follow me on Instagram, So it's got its pros and cons, but I think it's a great sort of platform to showcase a brand doesn't just have one sort of thing to communicate. They have many things to communicate. So it's a great platform to be able to communicate to different stratas of people, to different, to reach out more. It's a huge, today a sari shop is also online and is doing very well. And you wouldn't know that they existed, or you would go to your typical markets or your typical sariwala shops, but now today somebody sitting in Banaras has an online following of like 100,000 followers, which is great.
Yes,
that means business for them. So it's great in that aspect.
So I want to ask you a very personal question. How do you handle the trolling on Instagram?
I have been fairly lucky in that sense that it's not as much as other people experience.
Yeah, because I see a lot of influencers being trolled very badly for their body, for what they're wearing, for different things, for their personal life sometimes too. So how does it affect you?
I wouldn't lie, it has affected me at times, but there is a quote I keep going back to, which is, power is where you put it. So if you give that comment power enough, then that's then you're shifting your power to them. So there have been times where I have, out of anger or out of irritation.
Do you block some people? Do you block some people at times when they're irritating with their comments and with their constant inputs, which is not required?
Very rarely. I ask them to block me. I ask them to block me.
So it's vice versa. If you don't like me, please block me.
Yeah. Then I see that. They still haven't. I block only people that sort of there'll be random men who'll be sending something or whatever. But those kind. But very rarely do I get into blocking, because I feel like I need them to see where I'm going. So. And if they don't want to be here, they can block me.
So a lot of youngsters these days want to take up influencing as a career option. So what is one piece of advice that you would like to give these young boys and girls who wants to become influencers and feels that this is the new thing, this is a new career option which is there?
I think, you have to genuinely question, why is it that you are there? Why is it that you want to do that? There was a very funny meme that was circulating a few years back where everyone was a stylist. And, there are people on the plane and there's somebody dying and somebody says, is there a doctor here? And there's, the guy standing in a line says, I'm a stylist. The next one says, I'm a stylist. Next one says, I'm a stylist. Next one says, I'm a stylist. So the whole world was a stylist. And I think it's true for influencers today. But I feel like if you feel like you've got a voice, and by voice, I don't mean physical voice, I mean, if you've got something to communicate to the world, I think by all means do it. But if you're getting into it because you want to, I had somebody that came to me and said, I want to become famous.
I want to become?
I want to become famous. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
How are you going to do it? And becoming famous doesn't mean dancing and jumping in front of the thing and it's done, because everybody today is dancing and jumping in front of the phones. What is it that you are going to put forward that's going to be different from the next 10 people?
So you have to be unique in your own style.
You have to have your own voice in what you're communicating. What is it? Somebody messaged me the other day and said, I think strongly about educating people about women and their finances. And I've studied this and I feel women don't know about their financial rights and this and that. So I've started on Instagram doing small snippets. And I think that's so great because you found a very niche channel, a niche subject, and you've got a channel through which you can communicate and educate people. So it needn't always be fashion. It can be music. It can be textiles. It can be, crafts. There's so much to explore. And I feel like that needs to be explored. So you need to get down to basics as to, A, what is your passion? How can you turn that passion into and become an influencer through that? So I think that is what is an important question that they need to ask, because if they just get into this rut of like singing and jumping and dancing and making eyes and faces, you're going to get lost. You're going to get lost. So
I agree to it. It's too much.
Yeah.
So tell me something, how has COVID affected your work, since most of the time we see on your video that you have been working from home and of course from your studio? So especially having the family around and now with the kid around, how do you manage everything together?
So to be honest, since we went into lockdown, I jumped into sort of sharing leads and helping people with information, when we were at the peak. And now it's become, the SOS calls have become a little better. And for the longest time, I was not in the state of mind to get back in front of my phone and start talking and smiling about a new outfit or about a new brand. I just wasn't in that frame of mind. And there was a day that a few days back, I did put on makeup after over a month. I did my hair and I thought I'll shoot something. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't be smiley and happy. But I did it today. And thankfully on the screen, you can't see the mess, but my floor is a mess because I was doing a shoe brand. And it's all a mess. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get on this Zoom call.
And I love those videos in which you tell about these various shoes and these, how you can team them up and they look so lovely. Everything looks lovely at you, Amrita.
Yeah. Thank you so much. But today I very ambitiously, I was in a better frame of mind. I ambitiously shot 2 videos. So I was happy about that. Yeah. And, but it's a bit of a hit and miss. There are days when your child won't let you. There are days when you're just not in the mood. There are days when other things are required. But I have to say the brands have been super accommodating and super understanding about it. But yeah, slowly, I think we're going to get back to everything.
So my next question was somewhere related to this. Half of it you've already answered, but still I will ask you. Tell me, how do you manage with this industries? How do you get your downtime with your family? And what are your busiest months? Do you also have fashion have, of course, 2 seasons, autumn, winter, and summer, spring. But with influencing, how do you manage? Overall, there are lean months, there are busy months. How are they? So
I actually, for 2 years when I was, for about a year and a half, when I was doing these videos, etc., I wasn't monetizing my work. So, and because this wasn't a full-time job for me, I have a label, I have a job, I have a career in fashion. But finally, around lockdown last year is when I started getting a lot of requests, and I realized that, I was at that time, because there was no nanny. The nanny had gone away because of the lockdowns. I was with a newborn child, and then there was so much work coming my way, which was interesting, and I didn't want to let go of that as well. But I wanted to put down a value to my work and to my time. So I started monetizing it. Then I got a team on board a few months later, because it was just getting too much. But from that time, and I think what happened in the lockdown, budgets were cut down of big brands, of this thing. So somebody that's a big brand that was paying a celebrity, their budgets came down to a lot less, and then they were getting in touch with influencers. So in fact, since the lockdown last year, it has been nonstop. So while we did anticipate that the summer months will be lean and etc., given that we've again gone into a lockdown, brands are again now coming in because they feel like that is the only way they can again get back.
Yeah, because nowadays everything has become so virtual. So social media is the only platform which is offering what all is latest.
Exactly.
People are not going for movies; they are restricted to their house. Everything,
and there's a lot of saved income, so people are shopping. Surprisingly,
I really wish they are shopping.
Yeah, they're shopping. It's interesting to see what they're shopping for, and at times I'm just like, but like, to go where? I'm literally like, I'm like, where are you going to, wear this? But it's interesting. I mean, people have, I guess it's a sense of hope and promise to, for things to get better, and then, for them to use these things. So, yeah.
So, tell me something that, could you collaborate, could you just elaborate a little bit about the latest guideline issued by the Advertising Council on displaying labels, and what exactly and how do we safeguard the interest of these customers?
I think it's something that's, as we go along, like earlier, Instagram didn't have that. And then, and now it's, first it was paid partnership, and then now it's mandatory. And then now this. I think it's great, but I feel like there needs to be a better way to communicate it. I just feel like, with certain brands, we've put up paid, I've written ad, and people immediately, if it's a paid thing, it loses value to the followers or to the customers. So they think, oh, just because it's paid, it's not. But the thing is that there are a lot of people that do these collaborations, it's a purely business thing, and they sort of do it. But there are also people who are particular about sharing something that they've only after they've used it themselves. So I'm very particular about that. And I think it's great to be transparent, but I think people need to understand that we're being transparent doesn't mean, I think people need to know who they are following, and who will sort of do it with some ethics involved, and who will do it purely as a business thing. So I think people also need to understand and respect that. And I think then, because a lot of times brands and influencers are scared to go into that route, because they know that people are just going to be like, oh, but this is a paid thing, so this, it doesn't count. Whereas I think for a lot of people, they appreciate that, and they know you well enough to know that, okay, yeah, even if it's a paid thing, she's probably used it, she's probably tried it, it's tried and tested. That's probably why she's recommending it.
So of course, people do hear your recommendations quite strongly. We have seen it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And right from cutlery to, clothes, everything, whichever way you recommend it, people definitely look for it. So tell me something, Amrita, where do you look at yourself next 5 years? What do you think is influencing marketing take you?
I think we need to, honestly, I hope we slow down a bit.
It will.
I hope so. I hope we slow down, and I hope we don't get into this. I think right now it's starting to feel like a bit of a circus, but I feel like we need to slow down. We need to make more space for people and let them have their space, let them have their voice. What's happening right now, I feel, is that a lot of people are jumping onto the band. Like, I'll give you an example of the things that trend on Instagram. There'll be one thing that will trend, somebody will pick it up from abroad, and then, everyone here will be doing it, and it feels like a whole cycle. I really do hope that we are able, all of us, to find our own mode of communicating something, whether it's doing it in a fun manner, whether it's doing it in a serious manner. But I do hope everyone finds their own individuality through it, not just get lost in the sea. So I really hope 5 years from now, we're in a space where there is more acceptance and there is more patience for everyone to be and go at the pace they want to. I don't know if that's making sense, but yeah, it's a bit of a utopian idea.
No, of course. I wanted to ask you, since you have such beautiful styling videos all the time on the Instagram, and you have a personal style statement also, do you also face a lot of pressure when you're going for parties that you have to look glamorous, or do you have some pajama parties also once in a while?
No, I love dressing up. I feel the entire act of dressing up is such a personal, intimate one, and I enjoy it thoroughly. So I don't feel the pressure, because I feel dressing up is a form of good manners, and I think it's very it's a lot of fun for me. In fact, the process of getting up, of dressing up, is more fun for me than being fully dressed. So I love it. I don't feel any pressure in it, and I can't wait for everything to, for us to go back to a normal world and for us to be socially.
So it's so lovely listening to you today and your ideas. Now I would request Kanika to do a quick rapid fire with you.
Sure.
And figure out get some fire out of you.
It was really so nice listening to you, Amrita. You never fail to amaze us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
dressing
so much.
or speaking.
Thank you so much.
So ready for the rapid fire?
Yes.
Okay. What comes to your mind when you hear the word love?
Mangoes.
Oh my God. So the season is there.
I'm going to give very non-philosophical and emotional answers.
Yes. So the season is there.
Yeah, I'm addicted.
What do you admire the most?
What do I admire? The resilience. I admire resilience in people.
That's really good.
Yeah.
You can describe yourself in 3 words.
I think I'm an old soul. So I don't know. How do I describe myself in 3 words?
Should I help?
Yes, please.
Beautiful, hot, sizzling.
Devoted to her work.
Devoted to her work.
Yeah.
Your nickname?
Amu.
Oh. So Amu, one thing that every designer must have.
Must have. Something that is about 20, 30 years old.
Oh, wow. So all the Banarsis and all the brocades that we have owed from our weddings.
It could be anything. It could be a watch. It could be, a pair of earrings. It could be, a taviz on a thread. Oh, anything.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite fabric?
Chiffon.
Oh, wow. I love the silhouette myself.
Yeah.
Social media influencer or a designer?
Designer.
Most prized life lesson?
Wow. Most prized life lesson is that we don't call each other enough. And I think we really need to call and check in on people and By check-in, I don't mean, hey, how are you? Just call and have a conversation.
And meet as much as possible.
Yeah.
So what you can't wait to do after the lockdown opens?
Travel. So many of us.
Last one eureka moment.
I think somebody said to me at dinner, and she's from an agency, she's from a PR agency. And she said to me, the word is that if Amrita talks about a brand 3 times, they've made it. And I often get very, I almost don't know where to look with all this kind of attention, but, I carried a sense of pride with me that night back home.
But that's true also, Amrita.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
We all try to, pick up sometimes stuff which you're wearing, and sometimes, try to coordinate. I saw you in a yellow dress with a fuchsia handbag, and I was like, okay, this can also go sometimes.
Yeah. Thank you.
So would like to hear some styling tips which Pooja will like to ask you.
Sure.
So, of course, Amrita, if I let you go without giving us some styling tips, my audience will be very, very unhappy. Having you on board, and it will be an incomplete session without your styling tips to uplift the mood of, of my members. So please do give us some quick summer styling tips so that we can, dress up post-COVID, and sometimes at home also, just to lift our mood.
Yes. I think we all need to be more particular now as we're growing older to the fabrics that we use. So I think fabric is most important. Choose summer, so linens, mulmals, cottons. Let's stay away from the synthetics. So I would say, the one of the summer must-haves is a strappy maxi dress. And there are tons of them available in homegrown brands and high street brands, in designer brands. You just have to find the one for you. And I think every summer you should have one nice maxi dress. I also feel like increasingly, jewelry, there's so many options now available, and they're being sort of pushed forward as modern heirlooms. And I think today heirlooms do not need to be at the back of your locker. They need to be worn. So summer or winter, whether it's a chain your grandmother gave you and you don't like it, pull it out. Maybe you'll wear it as a bracelet someday. It holds value. It holds many stories. So I think you need to sort of honor that and carry that in your life. And there's some energy that it brings. So always, it may be a humble, thin chain, but I think we need to honor whatever we've been given, because we're a country that believes in mothers and fathers and grandfathers passing down jewelry. So I think we need to honor that and wear that more often. And for footwear, I think I as much as I would like to be a sneaker person, I think I just can't take my feet sweating away in sneakers for summer. So I prefer chappals and slides. So keep them airy, keep them open, and have fun with it. If you're doing, I feel also another thing is that don't get stuck in the rut of matching things. Break it up, contrast, have fun with it. Let your footwear, let your bag pick up elements from what you're wearing, and make it work for yourself.
So I've seen a lot of your videos also where you have been using your maternity clothes also, using them with a belt and,
Yeah.
So could you suggest something like this, something which is more funky?
I think the belt and the anything. So I actually didn't buy any maternity clothes because they were just dowdy as hell. They were very, very ugly clothes. So I actually just bought like either very oversized styles,
Yeah,
or just a size up, like a medium. And today those, those A-line ones and tent shape ones can be easily belted. So I don't shy away from buying any oversized clothes, because I feel like there's a day when there are days when I feel like wearing an oversized one as is, and there are days I want some shape and some form and I belt it up. So belts are great. A-size one, tent, what someone calls a tent, is great. I love them. And I lately I've been sort of looking for so many belts, and I keep wearing belts with everything. So I love it. I think it's a great accessory,
So
and
what are
also
the
a great
five?
thing for whenever you, like, if you are expecting, just don't shy away from wearing any of those tent shape ones, and then just take a belt for later.
So what are the five things you must have in your wardrobe?
In your wardrobe, many white shirts. I wouldn't say one white shirt, many white shirts.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Good tailored pants. You know, you may get lucky at like a high street brand. You may get lucky at a vintage store, at a designer store, wherever. Good tailored pants. A beautiful, woven Banarsi sari. Something in chikankari. A good watch, a good solid watch, and a happiness to wear and enjoy these things.
So true.
Okay. So what is your personal style statement, Amrita? What is that one thing without which you don't leave your house? It's a must for every.
I don't leave my house without my watch, without my jewelry, a good bag, and currently a mask.
Yes. So is there any styling way to wear a mask also?
Let's just double mask and triple mask as much as possible. Let's not make it about fashion. It's a necessity, and we hope we get done with it soon. But yeah, let's not be fashionable about it.
Thank you for these incredible summer styling tips. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
the members will be very, very happy, and they will find them very helpful. Now I would request our chairperson to present you the green certificate.
Thank you, Amrita.
Thank
This
you.
was truly a very candid conversation and a
Yeah.
lot of takeaways from the session today.
Yeah.
We have planted in your name a tree in Trees for Tigers at Panna.
How lovely.
So you can track the growth of your tree with the certificate number there at the corner.
Oh, how sweet is that?
This is,
Thank
I think,
you.
our way of adding more oxygen to the environment.
Much needed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Need of the hour.
Yeah, and now I would like to request my Vice Chair, Pooja Gupta, for a vote of thanks.
Hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. A very warm and breezy evening to everyone. We all strive to look our best and feel our best. And each time when we're going to buy something, we always need to remember that it's not the brand that would make you stand out, but how you would style it. That would make you stand out. So, what matters is your personal style. On that note, I would now like to begin extending my gratitude to first Miss Amrita Thakur for telling us so much about styling in the last 60 minutes. We're immensely grateful to you, Amrita, for sharing your journey and your learnings. I'm pretty sure this has been value added for professional designers as well as to us.
Thank you.
Also, thank you for reinstating for each one of us that everything or anything in life you want to do, it needs purpose, including being an influencer.
Yes.
I want to thank our chairperson, Kanika Ved, for reaching out to such amazing, talented people and bringing in their stories, which helps us in our development. I would now also thank our senior vice chair, Pooja Gupta, for chairing this event and always asking the right questions that benefits us all. Extending my thank you to the media team for handling it each time immaculately. Most importantly, I would like to extend a heartiest gratitude to our annual sponsors, Eris Life Sciences and Pramanjali Foundation, for their generosity. And just as importantly, a big thank you to all the members from all Flow chapters pan India for cheering us and coming together each time in good attendance. Thank you once again for joining today's event. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Amrita.
Thank you.